You can listen to it on the SiriusXM app. Go to the app, search Lithium.
Shut up. All right, let's go. I thought I'd have some people come in by now, but it looks like everybody's going to take their time today, which is fine with me. I'll be driving anyway. Man, things are slow at work. It's always slow this time of year anyway. This makes for a long day. Wait for some of my regular peeps to come in there. Don't see anybody yet. Got a headache. Let's see here. I guess I'll be alright for tomorrow. Yep. I guess nobody's got my notifications yet, but I'm on. Thanks a lot, YouTube. I appreciate that. Of course, then again, it's not like I really care. You know, I'm not really doing anything right at this particular moment. Just driving along. I don't get paid for this shit. They don't pay me enough anyway. If I did this full time, I'd be in trouble anyway. Not unless I could come up with something. Have some kind of producer or something like that. I guess I could do a morning show. Like Mike the Patriot. Something like that. What's up, viewer? How you doing? You've caught me on my Monotonous Monday. Another day in paradise. What we got going on over here? Yep. So I'm on my way home from another long day of work. Well, not a long day. It wasn't too bad today. Kind of slow. Of course, that's to be expected this time of year. We're always slow this time of year. You know, everybody, all these companies that order vehicles from us, they do all their budgeting in the last quarter, and that's when they decide to buy vehicles, but they usually don't order them until like January, middle January, 1st of February, something like that. So like from, I would say like the first part of March up until August, we're like really slammed usually. Summers are pretty busy because everybody wants vehicles, you know? But this time of year, not so much. Daughter is today. I don't know what she's doing. She's probably working. You know, she was out for a little while. She had some medical issues. Of course, I'm not going to go into that. She's my moderator. She'll probably be on a little later, maybe. Of course, this is kind of early for me in the day. I usually work like 9 or 10 hour days. It's kind of my choice. As long as I do my 8 hours, I'm good. But I do, every now and then, I do 9 to 10 hours. Last year, like through Christmas and New Year, and then all the way up to like March, I was working 10 hours a day and 6 hours a day on Saturdays. So the money was pretty good. But I think I'm just going to do 8s this week, maybe, to get me back in the swing of things. You know, it's been, what, 3 weeks since, 3 weeks, 13 days or 14 days or something like that I've had off out of the last like 15 or 20. So I've gotten kind of lazy. Of course, that's what happens, you know, when you take a bunch of time off of work. I still got paid for it. You know, I got vacation time and all that good shit, but you know, when you take time off of work like that, you try to get back into the swing of things. It takes a couple of days. You know, like I was off the whole week before Christmas, well, from like the 19th and then all the way past Christmas, and then let's see, that was the 25th, 26th, 27th, 20, the 28th, 29th, and 30th I worked, and then the 31st I was off. Of course, that followed by the weekend, so that was, you know, 9 days, including the weekends. The week before, worked 3 days and off 4 more days. So, yeah, it's taken me a little bit to get back in the swing of things. I'll make it though. I always do. I'm just hoping we get busy. I'd like to work more hours now that we've got this thing, thanks to the big fabulous bill, or the big gigantic beautiful bill, or whatever it was called, you know, that no more tax on overtime. Let's see who we got there. Kalaya Marie Johnson. Well, hello there. Talk to move later by. What? I don't know what you mean. Anyway, unless my system's translating for me, I don't know what you talk to move later by. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, there's no more tax on overtime. Like I said, I average. I usually average 3 or 4 hours at least a week in overtime, sometimes more. So I'm looking forward to getting a little bit of that overtime, you know, with no taxes taken out. That'll be nice. But you know, I'm in no big hurry right this. So I want to get back in the door and, you know, get to working good first. You know, when you get 13 days off out of like the last 16 or 18 days, well, that includes the weekends, you know. Talk to me later. I don't know what that. I guess she came in to say hello and then left. But I don't know. It's kind of like, you know, riding a bicycle. You know, you do it for so long, and then like you don't ride a bicycle for a little while, and your legs get all rubbery and weak, and you know your stamina goes down, and you get short of breath really easy and stuff like that. Basically the same kind of thing. You know, when you're working, I took a lot of time to relax. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did move around and do things, but I didn't do a whole lot. You know what I mean? I kind of took it easy. I took a couple of car trips, see a hockey game. Then we went I got some bunch of clothes washed and some albums that I need to put in sleeves today. My fiancée D, who might be joining us here. I don't know if she's on or not, but sometimes she does, sometimes she doesn't. But I got a bunch of outer album sleeves that I have to put on albums today. So maybe I'll do that until she gets home. That'll give me something to do, and then I can spin a I got the Megadeth album called Super Collider. Now that album was released in 2000, I want to say 19 maybe, and it wasn't available on vinyl for a while, and somebody apparently got a shipment in from some music company, got a bunch of vinyl, so I bought that album because I'd been wanting that particular album for quite a while, and so I finally got it. So I may open it and spin it today. Do I like it? Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Megadeth. I've got that album on CD. It's Megadeth Super Collider. And I've been, like I said, I've been keeping an eye out for it. You know, it's a good album. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite Megadeth albums, but it ranks up there, you know, the top 5 anyway. Of course, my number 1 favorite Megadeth album will always be So Far, So Good, So What. And then Countdown to Extinction. I love that one. Let's see, I would have to say probably The World Needs a Hero would be number 3. Number 4 would probably be Dystopia. And then number 5 would be Super Collider. That's probably my top 5 Megadeth albums. I went on this venture, you know, like a couple years ago. I built myself a stereo, and I've just got back into vinyl. I had an ass load of CDs, but I try not to buy too many records because I've got all that shit on CD. I've also got it on cassette. I don't know if some of you may not know what a cassette player is, but I've got a bunch of cassettes that I've had for years. And so when I built my stereo, I got a single disc player, I got a turntable, but then I got a cassette to cassette. It's a dual cassette player, and it's all Pioneer. And the reason I did that so that I could take some of the albums and put them on tape that I don't have on tape. See what I mean? Or I can dub tapes. Like if I see something I want on tape, or somebody has something I want on tape, then I can dub it, and I'll have a copy of it always. So, you know, it's pretty versatile what I can do with that system now. And also, I can put a Bluetooth in it, and or not a Bluetooth, but RF cables, and hook it up to my computer, and I can record to my computer as well. So that might be in the works too. I would only do that for burning CDs though, you know, or from cassette to digital. I don't really have the equipment to do that right now, but that's why I said, you know, eventually I'd kind of like to do that. I think that would be pretty cool. But for what I've got in this stereo, I mean, it sounds really good. It's all Pioneer, like I said. You know, Pioneer is one of my favorite stereo brands. They also, as far as I'm concerned, they make the best equipment out there. Of course, Pioneer is American made at one point. I think it's like Taiwanese or something now. But I know it was American made, you know, years ago. But I use Polk audio speakers, P-O-L-K, Polk audio speakers. And they do it a lot of justice. I don't know, I just don't like the big tower speakers because they, you know, they're gaudy and they get in the way, and, you know, if you ever have to move them, you know, they can be pretty heavy and pretty awkward. So I just use the little Polk audio bookshelf speakers, which, you know, they push enough bass that, you know, if I wanted to listen to some like 80s dance or 80s R&B or whatever, I can do that. And it does the job for what it is, you know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. I guess I lost whoever that was. Let's see here. I can't read that. It's too small. I got sunglasses on, so I can't read it. Kellis Marie Johnson DeVival. Oh well. I don't know. Anyway. So my stereo sounds pretty good, but like I said, I got a bunch of album sleeves that I got to put on albums this evening. Eventually what I'm going to do is, and you guys may want to keep an eye out for it, on one of these days, I've got an album collection that is mostly like late 50s, 60s, 70s music that, you know, was my mom's. When she passed away, she left me her album collection. And I've probably sold maybe 50 of them at this point, but I've got a lot more stuff that I just don't listen to. You know, I'm more of a heavy metal type guy, and Mom was into like contemporary, you know, of course 70s rock, Pink Floyd and, you know, Jerry Rafferty and Leon Russell, and I'm not really a big fan of Leon Russell or Jerry Rafferty or Joan Baez or, you know, any of those people like that. So my plan is, once I put the plastic on them and I get them in some kind of order, I mean, they're in alphabetical order now, but I want to put them like in crates and just kind of like flip through and do little flippies, you know, like the record stores do. I think that would be pretty cool. And so you guys will have to keep an eye out, you know, on my YouTube channel. And I'll probably post them on Facebook too. You know, I figured out recently that I can simulcast my live feeds between Facebook and YouTube. Now I don't have like Twitch. I've got a Rumble account, but I haven't figured out how to go live on it, you know, like all together yet. And then I have an Instagram, but I don't simulcast, or I don't do anything, you know, videos or live stuff for that. I just would rather not. I've got accounts with other social media platforms, I guess you could say, but I don't use them. I just recently have a Snapchat, but I don't really use it either unless I'm speaking with my daughters. And, you know, that's like the best way to get in touch with them when I need to. So I do use it to get in touch with them, but I don't, on a regular basis, I don't Snapchat them. And of course, I don't have TikTok. I think people waste too much time on TikTok. I could probably lose a whole day on TikTok. You know, and I've never even been on there, but I've heard, you know, that there's a lot of shit on there to look at. But, and I don't think I'll ever get a TikTok account. I'm not really interested, to be honest with you. I have an X account, which is formerly Twitter, but I have a tendency to get myself in trouble on there. They like to censor my comments a lot because I'm real blunt. I'm to the point, you know, and there's a lot of subject matter on X, formerly known as Twitter, that I don't know if they're bots or if they're really people, but, you know, I'm very opinionated, and I don't hold back. When I talk and type things, I don't hold back. You know, I tell them exactly what's on my mind. And I find that my ability to be blunt gets me in trouble on social media. Because, you know, people get feelings hurt, or, you know, they get offended, and I just, you know, I don't understand. you know, why people are so fucking weird these days. You know, it's when I was growing up, you know, we didn't take shit off anybody, and if we had something to say, we'd say it. But you know, and it didn't really bother us because we knew, you know, that generation knew that, you know, we were gonna let you know exactly how we felt. We usually did. But these newer generations, like the, you know, the millennials and the Generation Y and Generation Z, a bunch of fucking powder ass diaper wearers or something. I don't know what the fuck's up with them people, but they've got no backbone. They've got no skin. You know, they're really thin-skinned people, and you can't be blunt with them and tell them what's, you know, what for, because you might hurt their feelings. So I guess that social media companies have decided that, well, we'll watch out for other people's feelings for them. You know, if I wanted somebody's, you know, if I wanted somebody to fucking look out for my feelings, there's no reason for me to even talk about anything. You know, because I don't give a shit. You know, the world is too fucking pussified these days. And too many people out there get butthurt over the silliest shit, you know. Of course, there's something called liberalism too, and a lot of people out there have this disease called liberalism. And if they don't like what you have to say, or they don't agree with what you say, they have a tendency to be butthurt over it. And, you know, if there's people on here watching me now and you happen to be liberal, well, so what? I don't care. If you don't like it, don't watch me. You know, there's always other channels you can go to. And that seems to be the biggest thing, you know, like, this shit didn't start till like 2008 or something like that. You know what I mean? People were allowed to voice what was on their minds, and people were allowed to have an opinion. And it's like now people are so fragile and their minds are so weak and they can't defend themselves so much that, you know, everything that they hear, see, or say, or people say to them, it hurts their little feelings, you know, and whatever. So, you know, people like me that aren't afraid to express our opinion and aren't afraid to say what's on our mind, we get in trouble a lot, unfortunately. But you know, so be it. I mean, I'll even snap back at the social media networks. I wrote the X, formerly known as Twitter. I wrote them an email today and told them exactly what was on my mind. If they didn't like it, they could fuck off. Period. I don't care. You know, I don't have to use their fucking platform. I don't have to use YouTube. I don't have to use Facebook. I do those things by choice, you know. And if they want to cause me, you know, a bunch of grief because of my opinion or because of things that I post or say, then, you know, they just have to get over it. You know, I'm not gonna fucking hide behind a fucking rock or shut my mouth because people want me to. You know what I mean? Or because I hurt their little feelings. I don't give a shit. Period. I don't. You know, I didn't give a shit about hurting people's feelings when I was growing up. I didn't give a shit about hurting people's feelings, you know, when I was hanging out in fucking bars and drinking and partying. And I don't give a shit now. And it's, you know, there are other channels out there that people can watch, and if they don't like what I have to say, then go watch them. You know, but I will say that, and I say this all the time, I don't talk about politics a whole lot. Every once in a great while, something politically would be going on, and I'll share my opinion about it, but that's as far as it goes. And I don't talk about religion. I think there's enough of my viewers out there that know how I feel about both of those subjects that I just would rather not. It's too much of a headache to try to dance around my words so that, you know, I don't hurt somebody's feelings, or I get trolls in here sometimes too. I wish some trolls would come in. That would be nice. I could fucking blast them instead of blasting social media companies and stuff. But most of them don't last very long either. They type something in there and I respond to it like immediately. I'm on it, and they don't. My trolls usually don't last very long. They might be in here for a minute or two, and they see that I'm not going to back down, and I'm just not going to. I'm not going to shy away from what they have to say. So they generally don't last a long time. Which I appreciate the views and I appreciate their commentary, if that's what you want to call it. But I don't care. There's too many other things in the world going on for me to worry about some damn troll on my page or on my channel talking shit, because I'll talk it right back. I'm not going to spend my day on it, but I will respond. If somebody wants to be a troll, I will respond. It may take me a minute because I can't see my screen, not with my sunglasses on anyway. If I have my other glasses on, I can see just fine. Man, these people are moving out. They got a lot of fucking boxes. Either that or they're moving in, one of the two. I don't know. But anyway, so all you newbies out there, people that are new to my page, I usually do this about 30 minutes a day. Usually around this time. This time, an hour later or an hour later than that is usually when I'm on doing my thing. So I average about 30 minutes or so. If you're new and you come in here and watch me on the replay and you're kind of new to my channel, just bear with me. You'll catch me eventually. Like I say, I'm usually on here for about 30 minutes. I don't do this a whole lot. I try to do like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Every once in a while I put some short videos up, or I do live videos like breaking down boxes or something in my basement, or sometimes I just do videos for the heck of it, but that's not very often. I really would like to come up with some creative, like a radio station or something eventually. But the thing about doing like a radio station type deal, especially on YouTube, is the censorship, or not the censorship, but the copyright bullshit that you have to go through. They've slapped me on the hand quite a few times about copyright shit, because I'll use somebody else's material, and even though I don't use it for like even a full minute, they still want to, say, hey, look, this company's claimed copyright to this material and you can't use it, blah, 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 whatever. But anyway, so you guys have a good day. I'm going to take off. I'm home. I'm going to go in here and relax. Like I said, it was another monotonous Monday. First day of work after having a lot of days off in a row. So you guys take it easy. If you're watching on the replay, I'm sorry you missed me on the original broadcast, but I'll be back Wednesday. You guys take it easy. Bye.